Hello, friends. I want to thank you for joining me, whether you are here live or catching me on the replay. I also want to apologize for my appearance. I'm not exactly camera ready, and I probably should have canceled this live, but it was really important to me to show up today, even if I'm not looking or feeling my best, because this is such an important topic. And I'm getting so much feedback on my posts this week on social media and also on the podcast episode from which the topic of this live stream was taken. But to call out the elephant in the room, the reason that I'm looking and feeling not so great is that I'm recovering from a pretty serious dog bite, which involved stitches, tetanus shot. There's a lot of tissue trauma. And yeah, it's just kind of kicked my butt a little bit. But what's important is that you're here and you're here specifically because you're probably struggling in your relationship with social media. Now, I will say that obviously, based on my age, did not grow up with social media. And in my previous business, which was a psychotherapy practice in a suburb of Los Angeles, California, all of my referrals either came through professional networking or people were referred by satisfied clients of mine. So, marketing my business online in any way, shape, or form is something I've had to learn in the last few years. And I do so through a combination of email marketing, content marketing with my podcast and blog, as well as social media marketing. And against the advice of experts in social media marketing, I did exactly what they told me not to do, which is to show up on a bunch of different platforms and try to grow an audience on a bunch of different platforms at once. I even paid for this advice and went against it. But I know I'm not the only one, and I am speaking up for this because I think it's what most of us do, especially folks like myself who are bona fide experts who have come from either corporate, academic, nonprofit. In other words, we were part of a system. Then we had the audacity to go out on our own and needed to learn alternative ways to attract leads and convert them into paying customers or clients. Social media seemed like an obvious choice. First of all, everybody's on it, right? Everybody's on social media. At least the majority of people are. And given that there are so many people on this planet, and if the majority of them are on social media, it seems like a perfectly obvious choice to be there too, both for personal reasons and to market your business. Also, there are tons and tons and tons of social media influencers who promise to show us how easy and fun it is to market our business on social media. And many of us follow these people, and many of us have paid these people. Many of us have paid several different people, maybe many different people, to help us unlock the secrets to marketing our business on social media. And there's nothing wrong with any of this except this. Number one, not everybody likes social media. And if you want to talk about making your business more painful and uncomfortable than it needs to be, is tethering yourself to a marketing strategy that doesn't feel good to you. If I happen to love podcasting and I happen to love public speaking. I also like doing these live streams. But if you don't like speaking, period, and someone tells you you got to have a podcast, you got to live stream, you got to get over your resistance or avoidance of speaking because it's the way. I really seriously want to encourage you to run in the opposite direction as fast as possible. You don't have to do anything for your business. You have to do what's right for you because if it's not right for you, you're not going to do it. And even if you could get yourself to do it for a short period of time, you're not going to do it consistently and sustainably over time. So if social media feels like if it brings up the gag reflex every time you log in to a platform, please let yourself off the hook. You do not need social media to market your business. Perhaps if you are a social media marketing agency, you are an exception because otherwise you're completely out of integrity with what you sell. But let's say you are a coach, a consultant, an attorney. Let's say you're a graphic designer. Let's say you're a copywriter. Let's say you're an accountant or a financial advisor. Do you actually need to be on social media to market your business? I don't think so. You might decide to be on one platform. You might decide to be on several. You might decide to outsource your social media marketing to a virtual assistant, an employee in your business, or an outside agency. There are so many options. So when I say your relationship status with social media is complicated, you might be surprised to know that there are people who would be considered by any metric to be wildly successful on social media, but they fricking hate it. I don't know. I don't consider that success. If I would have to do something regularly or pay someone to do it for me that I actually hate, even if it's working, that does not fit my definition of success. Maybe it's cool with yours. And if that's the case, you do you. But for so many of us, especially micro businesses, solopreneurs, if you will, so many of us have drank the Kool-Aid that says you need to be on social media. If you're not, it's a huge missed opportunity. I say this, social media is an option. It is not an opportunity if you are not able or willing to do it well or pay someone to do it well. And I have a lot of doubts about whether paying someone to do it well is actually doing it well, because something I have learned after doing it wrong for quite some time, it's not enough to just spray and pray, just like spray the internet with your your posts. A lot of people try to go quantity. They put themselves on multiple platforms, basically with the same post on every one. The internet is not fooled. These platforms are not fooled. That does not work. So if you're doing it because you think it's a volume game and because you've listened to people that say, repurpose your stuff, that sounds so good. It sounds so logical. It sounds like, why wouldn't I create one post or have my assistant create it and then post it everywhere, repurpose it everywhere? But that's not what repurposing actually means. And I had to learn this lesson the hard way because, well, apparently that's the only way I'm ever able to learn anything. What repurposing means is you take a piece of content and you fashion it so that it fits the platform you are placing it on. It doesn't mean copy paste, copy paste, copy paste, because every single social media platform has a different personality and requires, in order for your posts or videos or whatever content you're posting there, in order for them to be successful, it needs to be appropriate to that particular platform. Otherwise, you stand out like a sore thumb, and nobody does business with sore thumbs. So, whether you need to change the way you show up on social media, break up with social media, reduce the number of platforms on which you appear on social media, or some combination. Like you could take a sabbatical. You could take a social media sabbatical. You're not breaking up, you're just giving each other some space. Or maybe you're changing the nature of your relationship from exclusive to open. It's a relationship. You have a relationship with social media, and you have a relationship with each of the platforms. Here's a perfect example. I love TikTok as a consumer. It is so fun and so engaging for me to see a combination of posts on my TikTok, combination of people I'm following and I want to see their videos, and people that the algorithm is suggesting to me because of what I obviously like. It stimulates my curiosity, it stimulates my creativity, it stimulates my relaxation reflex. I don't go to TikTok to learn new things. I don't go to TikTok to be influenced. I don't go to TikTok to look for things to spend money on. It does happen while I'm there, but that's not why I'm there. But you might be surprised to hear I don't market my own business on TikTok. I did for a minute, a couple months, until I realized in order to be really good as a TikTok content creator, I would need to invest a lot more time developing content that the algorithm likes and that is attracting to a particular audience. And I wasn't willing to do that. So you might find that you like a particular social media platform as a consumer, but it doesn't really suit you as a creator, or it doesn't suit your business as a creator. Let's say, for example, you're a person who sells, oh, I don't know, cremation services. Hey, Donna, thanks for being here. Let's say you're a person who sells cremation services, and yet most of the people on TikTok are under 30. That's probably not your place, right? There's nothing wrong with consuming content there, but creating, you'd probably have to work really hard and be really creative and think really outside the box. And while your videos might be magical, there may not be enough of your ideal audience for it to be an important place for you to spend the time and energy, or dollars if you're hiring someone else to do it. My recent conversation with Meg Casebolt, who is actually a specialist in social media marketing, she wrote an entire book about social media. Now, that might be surprising to you, but follow me. Meg Casebolt specializes in helping people use search engine strategies, search intent, the words that people enter into Google searches that may lead them to you as an alternative to social media. She also uses social media. And one of the most fascinating things about our conversation is that she took 100 days off of social media and nobody even noticed except her. She noticed because she felt a sense of spaciousness and ease, and she felt overwhelm just dissolve and realized I either need to break up with social media or I need to transform our relationship, maybe turn it into a friend zone kind of situation. I don't personally think outsourcing social media is what most people should do because I think the algorithms know. And the thing is that it's not a billboard kind of situation. You're not driving by and throwing, flyers out of the window of your car. Social media, in order to be successful for you, for your business, needs to be a combination of 3 things. 1, you need to stand out in the eyes and minds of the people you're hoping to connect with, and that's increasingly hard to do. A lot of people tell me, and let me say the other couple things you need to do. You need to stand out to your ideal clients or customers. You need to have content that's engaging to them. And by engaging, I mean not just a like. Likes are great. They're better than no likes, right? But it's the comments, it's the dialogue back and forth, and especially the shares that really make a difference on social media. So now we're talking about a lot more effort, aren't we? We're talking about strategically thinking what content would be the most appealing to the people I'm most interested in attracting, but not just for a quick like and like that's what I call drop and dash. They just drop a like and they're on their way. Within seconds, they've completely forgotten about you and your post. That post that you spent a lot of time and energy creating or paid someone else to do. That can be heartbreaking. And so many people I've met, and a lot of people who hire me say, I really want you to help me grow my business or rebrand or reposition or niche down or any number of the things that I can help them do. But an increasing number of them are saying, and I want you to help me do it without social media. So my conversation with Meg Casebolt really went deep into why do so many of us have this painful relationship with social media? No lie, I've heard a number of people say, I feel like I'm in an abusive relationship, and I get it. At the very least, it's a complicated one because who among us has not been in a relationship, either romantic or professional, where we think, I'm putting so much effort into this and I'm not getting much out of it. That right there causes an emotion that most of us don't think about and we really don't track and monitor, but man, should we. That is resentment. One of my friends, Kate Donovan, who is a burnout specialist and host of the podcast Fried, as well as a keynote speaker on burnout. Several years ago, she helped me understand that the emotion we really need to pay attention to as business owners and creators is resentment. If you're feeling resentful of the time and energy and effort and expense that you are investing in social media, that is problematic. Doesn't mean you should stop doing it. Doesn't mean you need to break up or even go on hiatus. It means that you need to pay attention to that. So many of us, an excellent point, Donna. I really appreciate this dialogue. So many of us follow the herd. So many of us just think, well, I'm new to marketing my business online. I didn't grow up with social media, or I grew up with social media for the younger folks, but not for business. So we start following people who claim to have the way. Part of the problem is that they may be completely honest and transparent with us, and they may share all of their secrets about the way. But I kind of think of it like the denominations of religion. There are a lot of people who claim to have the way, but it's a way, not the way, in my not so humble opinion, because there are many ways to get to your desired outcome. And we don't all have the same desired outcome. Yes, if we're following a social media guru, teacher, consultant, what have you, we do want the time and energy and effort and expense that we invest in social media to pay off. And if we're business owners, especially micro business owners, coaches, consultants, independent professionals, creative freelancers, and so forth, we want it to pay off in what? Not likes, not follows. That's vanity. And it's better to have those things than to not have them. But if you're a business owner and you're chasing the likes and follows, and there aren't some satisfactory percentage of them being converted into cash paying clients, you do not have a successful strategy on social media. Like, who cares if you're popular? Who cares if you have a big following? Who cares if a lot of people just love, love, love your stuff? And people are constantly sliding into your DMs and telling you how amazing you are. If you are not converting followers to clients, I would really encourage you to rethink why you're there at all. The longer I've been in business and the longer I've been working with other business owners, something that I've really recognized, maybe far too late, is how many of us who took a successful offline business online and instantly forgot everything we ever learned about how to build a business. It was as though I had a successful psychotherapy practice. I had a referral-based business, and I did a fair amount of networking, and I did some speaking. But when I went online, it was as though I forgot everything I learned about how I launched and grew that business. I forgot it. And I thought, um, I'm starting over. This is all brand new. So I have to learn the tips and tricks about how to market online. Do you know an increasing number of people that I work with and have worked with who have been in business for years are now saying, I'm really rethinking this whole social media thing, and I'm now doing local networking to get clients. What? Yeah, they're doing local networking to get clients for their online business. They don't have a brick and mortar. They work exclusively online, as I do. So why are they going to local networking events to get clients? Because here's the uncomfortable truth. And this is I'm speaking with broad strokes here because of course every business is different. But in my experience, as well as that of a number of my clients, it's been a real slog for them to build an audience online. It has been an uphill battle for them to grow on social media, and it's been extremely difficult for them to convert any of their effort on social media into cash paying clients. However, when they do local networking, when they do local lunch and learns, speaking engagements, and work their network, everything changes. The fastest, easiest sales in terms of converting someone from a lead to a customer that I've ever made as a coach and consultant have been people I've met in real life. It makes sense, doesn't it? And you don't have to be a big old extrovert like me, but there's so much attention put into focusing on developing the know, like, and trust factor online. Why do we have to spend so much time getting someone to know who we are, visibility, getting someone to like who we are, nurturing, and getting someone to trust who we are, conversion. When you can do that so much easier and faster by meeting a person in real life or meeting people in real life who are in the position to refer to you so that you're already vetted by that person. Now, I am not trying to convince anybody to take any particular course of action, but what I love doing is inviting people to recognize that they have options. So many more options than most of us think about. So if you love social media, do it. But it is the relationships that you build, whether it's meeting on social media and then converting that social media connection to something more meaningful, like let's hop on a Zoom call and get to know each other better. How can we help and support each other? There's two things that I keep coming back to again and again and again. If you're in business, you're in sales. So many people resist that. And that's why I think so many people just sort of expect that if they have a big audience on social media, that that should somehow convert to dollars so that they don't actually have to talk to people. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you this, but if you are self-employed, you are also in sales, whether you like it or not, unless you are paying someone else to send you business. But you're also in the business of relationships, even if you sell a product. Because people have to have a reason to choose you, to do business with you. And the reason that they're going to do it is because they develop a relationship with you. Might be a short-term relationship, but leaning into the power of connecting with people and spending the time and energy to develop relationships with people is and always has been the most reliable way to sustain your business. It's not social media. I want to finish this live stream with a little story. I met a woman last year who somehow heard about my podcast, listened to a couple episodes, really liked it, and thought she would make a valuable guest. I hadn't heard of her. She's in a different country. We just hadn't encountered each other yet. But she took the time to send me a very personalized pitch email, a very personalized pitch email, told me how she found my podcast, what episodes she listened to, why it resonated with her, introduced herself, and then asked if I would consider having her as a guest and suggested that since we didn't know each other and we didn't have people in common, that maybe the best way for me to consider that would be for us to have a short Zoom call to see if there was synergy and chemistry and all the things that make a podcast interview worthwhile. I get so many pitches every week that most of the time I can't even respond to them anymore. But this one stood out because I could tell from her approach, she was not just looking for an opportunity to gain access to the audience that I've worked so hard to build for my podcast. She wanted to have a relationship with me, not just use me to get access to my audience. So I followed my intuition and I said yes. And we had a conversation. We had tremendous synergy, chemistry, all the things. I did bring her on as a guest on the podcast. We have remained in contact with each other as our businesses have gone through different changes. Our relationship has grown. And recently, she was on vacation with her husband, not too far from where I live. She went out of her way to come visit me, and we had dinner together. And now we are embarking on a collaboration that will be beneficial to us both. This had nothing to do with social media, other than the fact that maybe she saw one of my posts. We follow each other on social media now, but not because we're trying to get something. We're not looking at each other as a means to an end. It's a relationship that will develop and grow and pay dividends to both of us over time. So I want to close this live stream by suggesting if you are struggling in your relationship with social media, I want you to consider listening to the episode on the Driven Woman Entrepreneur podcast. It's episode 174, my interview with Meg Casebolt. If you like what you hear, I would really recommend that you buy Meg's book. Meg spent an entire year interviewing small business owners and entrepreneurs about their relationship with social media. The book is called The Social Media Slowdown. I found it to be so enlightening and so empowering because it really allowed me to step back and think, what is my relationship with social media? What do I want it to be? What expectations do I have? And how do they match up with the reality? It led me in a totally new direction, one I feel really excited about, and I'm happy to share with you. You can DM me on LinkedIn or Instagram at Coach Diane Wingard, and I'd be happy to share the direction that I've chosen to take. But I just want to end with this. You don't need to be doing anything in your business that is draining, that strains you, that exhausts you, that overwhelms you, or that makes you feel resentful. We all have options, so many more options than we even recognize. So let this be permission granted. And if it's helpful, check out the episode. I want to thank you, Donna, for being here and for being so engaging. And anyone who's listening to this on the replay, I'd love to hear your thoughts. That's all for now. I'll see you next week.